Well, hello there everyone, and happy Orchid Day to you. I thank you so much that you would tune in to yet another episode of Orchid Adventures with me, Maria Young. Okay folks, and these are the orchids that we are focusing on today. These are the Tolumnia Orchids, and although they can be fairly small in size, oh my, can they pack such a punch in regards to their amazing blossoming potential. Now, one of the unusual attributes of these orchids is the fact that if we take a close look, the foliage actually emulates what is similar to the actual Brassavola orchids, and the fact that they are very sharp at the tip of their foliage. When we take a close look at the actual blossoms of this beautiful orchid, you will see that the actual blossoms look like Oncidium orchids, or better known as the dancing lady orchids. So indeed, such a strange attribute, yet so charming and appealing to the eye. Now, as you guys can see here, this plant has such thin roots, and it grows in an abundance of them too. Now, what this does, it allows this plant to receive its nourishment through the moisture in the air, and also to attach itself to plants and trees, which makes this plant an epiphyte. And one of the well-noted facts about this plant is how it likes to grow in nature. Because it is an epiphyte and it does attach itself to plants and other hosts, of course not harming the host, but just having a place to stabilize itself. But unlike other orchids, this one in particular likes to really attach itself on the outermost edges or twigs of the actual tree, receiving the brightest light and the appropriate type of nutrients for this plant. Now, because this plant is an epiphyte and it grows on the most outer parts of the tree, indeed, this loves to grow in bark medium, and also is a bright light orchid. So your lights for Vandas and Cattleyas will also do well for this orchid. Of course, no direct sunlight, because with any orchid, if you put them in direct sunlight, they indeed can harm and scorch and burn these plants. And also, because these plants are indeed epiphytes, these are great plants to mount on wooden slabs and also any type of wooden material that you have. You have to know that because it is small in size, that you may have to water them a little more frequently. And these particular plants that I have are actually growing in like an 1.5-inch pot. So I would recommend a daily watering for these little fellas. And the wow factor of these tiny little plants is the fact that it can have a multitude of spikes blooming an abundance of blooms on one single plant. And these little guys are just profuse of spikers. As you can see, this plant here has 4 spikes at once. So you can expect to find on each new growth, you may be fortunate enough to have spikes on each one. Indeed, these are just some amazing little guys that are so well worth having in your collection. Well, that is about it, folks. All about the Tolumnia Orchids. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Orchid Adventures with me, Maria Young. And of course, if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos such as this, please be sure to subscribe. Be the first one to know the latest and greatest news of what's going on in my orchid world. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and please stay tuned for more.